Hello everyone, and welcome back to another G1 Transformers review. Now, as you can see by his large old box on camera, I am doing a review of G1 Scorponok. Something I actually thought I'd already reviewed, but I'm guessing I was getting confused with my Triptychon review. This is a fantastic G1 toy. Not completely evenly paired up against Fort Max, but this is the guy who was the nemesis of Fort Max in the Headmaster line. As you can see from the box art, fantastic G1 artwork. You've got the three modes, so he's got his base mode, his Scorpion mode and his robot mode. Really great box art, like I say, showing his Headmaster as well, Lord Zarak. Couple of things what they got wrong though. This is obviously the test shot from the mould. Now on the proper Scorponok, and you can actually even see some of the things they got it correctly on the artwork, he's got grey feet, whereas on this test shot green, and on this part here where it's green, that is grey as well, and on the Scorpion tail there, that should be grey as well. But other than that, they're not far off. Oh, and the helmet of Zarak, as you can see, that's proper colour over there, the grey. But all in all, not too bad. The artwork on the end is pretty much similar, showing a bit of the toy, and again Zarak's the wrong colour on the test shot up there because they've actually done him in the grey when he's not at all. But and also, oh, there's another little thing, you've got Fast Track, who is Scorponok's little drone vehicle, again in the wrong colours. He's in green and black, which is totally wrong. You'll see him when I get through the review. And on the back of the box you get again transformation from Scorpion, robot and base mode, and of course you get the classic Headmaster artwork showing Scorponok just down here attacking Fort Max. I'll do a comparison at the end so you'll see just how much of an unfair fight that is. Now, if I can get it into shot, I shall just leave his text back there so you can read up on him. Freeze that and read it. Now, of course it was the original G1 type text spec, because this guy's from 1988 I believe it is, when the Headmasters came out. But like I say, fantastic box, not as big as Fort Max's, but pretty impressive. Now, I got this guy back in '88. I got him myself through my mum's catalogue, I believe it was, Kay's catalogue. Now, it was the sort of thing where you pay it off as a weekly or monthly sort of payment, so I was using my pocket money for some time to pay for this guy. But believe you me, I was chuffed to bits when I had him. He's a fantastic G1 toy. Now if I just reposition the camera a little tiny bit. Now I'm starting off not how he actually becomes packaged. I'm starting off with the base mode, or the basic configuration of the base mode, which is like so. Now there's a couple of things just to note. When he comes packaged originally, these two orange ramps aren't attached. I've just put them on, I left them on from when I was going to start this review, but they would have been packaged separately. There is actually a position inside the polystyrene what they come in to actually place them in together. Now, as I say, this is the basic configuration of Scorponok in his base mode, and if I put it up like that you can get a good idea of which way round it's got to go. I'm doing this really because this is probably the weaker-ish mode. It's the least fun. You can display lots of figures with him, but it's not really the version, the mode that you really buy this guy for. Now, in this mode you've got loads of accessories, and most of them, or I say all of them, are used in this mode. Some are discarded for the other mode, so again I can get through them and then we can be rid of them. Now, some of the hardest bit to get bits, you've got 4 little radar dishes. Now that's the first one, which is like a little TV screen. And again, these can be pegged in. They've actually used all of the screw holes, and there are a few extra holes here and there, and you can just peg them in anywhere on this side of it. Again, you get another little one, which again is just like a little tower, so you can peg them in. You get another one which is like a little pair of binoculars, something like that. And again, if I fold that ramp out and down as they're supposed to be, you've got all these screw holes. You can tuck them all in any of those. There are 4 supposedly specific holes, but they actually do work in any of them. And you get another one which is a bit like an upside down cross. So that's, I think, where they're supposed to be, but like I say, you've got other holes here, and it will peg into any of them, and they're not loose, they do peg in properly because there's 2 thicknesses of peg, so they've actually designed it so you can peg them in anywhere anyway. So it's a good little feature, and actually something Hasbro obviously put a bit of thought into when they did this guy. So that's your basic base mode setup. Quite classic in the G1 line for bases, the fact the legs make side parts, you get a central ramp, you get towers at the back. It's almost like a set configuration they tend to do with these sort of figures. Now, built in, you do get some hatches with weapons effectively inside, which are these 2 purple bits which lift up to show little rocket launchers inside, just moulded in. If I bring that in, you can see what I mean. Those ramps again possibly were loose when it was original, and might have been in a bag separate, but when you're buying one of these second hands, make sure they've attached, because obviously you're going to have to track down to get a hatch to replace them. Those ones, like I say, unclip. These ones are pinned on with a metal pin across, so not often you see these missing. Now these flip open like so, and as you can see, you've got some sort of green slots there. Now they are for a couple of other accessories. Now you get 2 repair arms. One is like a claw and one is like a sort of welding device. These will interchange either side, but you have to use obviously these 2 and then the other accessory in the other part, which I'll show you. They just clip in like so on the pegs, and then obviously you could put a smaller transformer on the little platform there and do little repair jobs and that on it. Now the other part comes in 2 bits, and it's a sort of little hoist come lift sort of thing, and that sort of pegs together like so, and then this utilises both slots at the same time, so again that's why you can't swap them around, and that just clips in like so, and then you can use that as a hoist. From that position you can lift up. Not quite the same play value, but yeah, it's so-so. Now the next part which you use in the base mode, if I don't catch the camera, you can hear all the parts rattling behind, is this part. Now this is like an arm, shield, weapon sort of thing in his robot mode, but in the base mode you've got holes and pegs, and that just hinges shut, and you take that. Now, interesting point, on the box art this sticker is shown to the front. You can't peg it on that way round, it has to be on with this sort of grill to the front, and that sits in a cavity which is just behind the orange ramp, which would be Scorponok's chest. So that sits at the back there, again giving it that classic look. Now taking the next 2 pieces, now these are really nicely chromed parts. Now if you're picking up these for Scorponok, make sure that the chrome's good, because these are orange underneath. Now these are the original ones from mine, and as you can see when you get them, even where they've been moulded on a sprue and then chromed, where they take it off you can just see that little bit of orange showing through. So really important, if you're picking up these, get some good ones. As far as I know, nobody's ever made a reissue or a copy of this guy, so you should be alright for getting originals on all of these bits. And that sort of tops off the towers. As you can see, they're really shining and reflecting into the camera. Really nice. Now the last bits what actually go with the base mode so much are of course his large gun, which is an orange gun. Now it's nicely moulded on this side, hollow moulded this side, but there is a reason for that which I'll go into a little bit later. They can peg on and become towers, a lot like the way sort of Fort Max's guns do. There's this other grey part which again is nicely moulded one side and not the other, and that goes in a hole on the back of the leg effectively over there. It becomes another sort of tower part. Now he does come with a load of guns as well, but in this mode you can't really fit them on properly. Now you effectively get 4 of these double barreled cannons. In this sort of mode, like I say, it's a little bit difficult. You can peg them under the ramps like so, either just to tuck them out of the way, or you can use them that way I suppose. And on the sides of the arms, which are the towers at the back, you can peg, if I can line it up correctly, you can peg them onto there as well to give it a little bit of artillery. Now if I lift that up you'll see where I mean on each side back here. Now in this mode he was supposed to be a kind of flying battleship. In the G1 cartoon you see him arriving at Cybertron and fighting the Autobots. It's not exactly a flight mode, to be fair. That is pretty slim on the designers. I suppose you could say the side bits look a little bit wingy, and this could be the nose of a ship, but yeah, it is a base mode really, but lovely, absolutely fantastic. The green and purple colouring is Decepticon all over. You could never confuse this guy with being an Autobot. Now the last accessories that Scorponok comes with are 2 figures. Now the first figure is this guy. Now this is Fast Track. Now he, when he's original, comes pegged in separate pieces, so he's like so, the main part. Now this transforms quite simply by just folding it out on 2 very stiff pin joints, which are metal pin joints, really strong. Even after all these years it's still fine. And then you get a little peg joint again at the bottom, just need to fold it out to make his toes. Now as you can see, these side bits are just pegged in and these orange parts are pegged in, so these are effectively his guns and these are obviously his arms. So again, like I say, you leave those pegged in, and as you transform him they become his arms and his little robot in his own right. Only downside to this guy, he could have done with some paint apps on him. It just would have added a little bit more detail just to pick him out. He's a bit dull just as a grey vehicle, but yeah, it's still quite nice. It's still better than some of the little alt mode sub figures you get with some of these base modes. Now the other feature, now I don't remember ever seeing this on instructions, but it is something I used to do as a kid. Now if you take off these repair arms, you can, with the pegs, attach them to Fast Track, so you can become almost like a little mining drone, come repair drone, something like that. And I thought it did remind me a little bit of the tank what attacks the Headmaster Autobots when they're trying to find the original, I'm trying to think what they're called now, Nebulon City. So yeah, quite a nice little sort of gimmick, and again adds a little bit of play value. Now I'm going to discard them for now, just for the fact we won't need them in a minute when I transform Scorponok. Now the other part which gives a little bit of play value is you can sit Fast Track or any of the other mini bots or combiner bots on the little orange ramp at the top there. If I put my hand here ready to catch him, there's a little black lever just behind the orange part, and if you flip it, if it's going to play ball, he drives down the ramp. There's the black lever there, and as you see, it just, as you push it forward, it just lifts up the ramp. Another good little feature. I'll do that from a bit further away so he's got more run up. there you go. So it does work, it's pretty good, and again, bit of fun value just to launch your figure away. Now the last bits, what you'll get if you get a boxed Scorponok, what's complete, is of course his headmaster. Now this is Lord Zarek. Now it's a little bit of a shame that compared to old Fort Max, who's hiding down here ready to be shown in comparison, he didn't get a double headmaster, he only got a normal headmaster, so Lord Zarek is all you're going to get, which is a shame because they could have done the Scorpion head as they did Cerebros and given him a double headmaster mode, but oh well, again a little bit of a missed opportunity to keep the line sort of consistent. If I bring my hand in, see if that'll focus in. Play ball. Not going to today. Okay. The headmaster, oh there you go, it's decided to do it on its own. The headmaster itself is nicely detailed. A little bit of silver picked out on his face, and as with all of the headmasters, you just double fold them up like so, so they're like they're kicking themselves in the mouth. Turn it over, flip over the little cover like so, and you get his face. Now the orange bits aren't actually his eyes, which although they're sort of painted like they are, if that will focus in, his eyes are actually tucked away just underneath there. Is that going to play ball? There we go. You just about see his eyes are underneath really. So it's a little bit of odd paint that really, because it makes it look like he's got 4 sets of eyes, but weird though it is. Great little figure, quite expensive I think to pick up on the secondary market anyway, but of course he can just be stood around. Obviously you don't flip him off the top of the thing, otherwise it'd be like a water slide, but nice little figure. Now we'll get back to him in a little bit. The last bit you get in the box is of course a rather chunky accessory leaflet, instruction leaflet I should say. Again, classic sort of G1 style. I won't bother opening it all up and that and showing you, but yeah, really good, really helpful, and perhaps I should read it before I do a review. Right, so that is his base mode. Now at this point you can discard all of these accessories. I will show you a useful place to store those. Under this tower there is a cavity in his chest. Now it's designed as being like a hidey hole effectively, or a control centre for Lord Zarek. What it actually is a really good storage place. If you jiggle them around you can get them all in to put his radar towers in, and they will all fit in, and then you can close that bit up and you won't lose them. It's worth noting that's why I've still got mine X amount of years later. Take the ramp off because that's got no more use. So if you're going to buy this figure to have in Scorpion mode or robot mode, you don't need those accessories. If you want to be a completionist, or you want a complete sort of mint box one, then you'll want them obviously. Close up his ramps and his hatches like so. Now you could make it a bit more bare bones of an attack base actually by having those out like that, but again that's not really a proper mode, just sort of something I used to do as well when I was a kid. Turn those guns that way and it become apparent why I bothered to put them on there. Take the tower parts of the gun away. You can kind of use it in Scorpion mode but you're not supposed to, so I'll show you the proper way. Take off the chrome bits again, and they've got to be clipped in. They use the clips at each end to clip in the slots on the legs, and they still clip in nice and firmly as it should be. Scorpion mode is pretty basic and pretty easy to transform. You first of all need to get hold of the tail section, and Dave Mentz, prepare yourself, you will enjoy this bit. Lovely ratchets, all still perfectly great after all these years. You need to unhinge the green sections which are clipped in on these grey parts, almost like a combiner clip from the G1 line, something similar to that, but just a double clipper, so it clips onto this bit. You need to revolve that so you get these stickered bits to the top, and then fold that over, and that just sits on top like so. Do the same again in this way, and you can only revolve those legs in one direction as well. I should point that out, because this bit sticks out at the back, it won't turn, you haven't got clearance the other way. Unclip it, fold it over, just straighten it up like so. Now at the back, inside there, you can see there's two holes, and you've got two pins on the scorpion tail part, the ramp part. You've got to line those up, and it's not easy. I'll put them down actually. And line it up and peg them in simultaneously like so, and that becomes the back end of the scorpion. Of course, you can then fold over this grey part, fold out the orange part, and you get his tail weapon. Coming round to the front is going to be simplicity itself. Fold round and down with the arms, again all on ratchets, so you can have lots of fun making noise. You've got claws which are on ratchets as well, and also the claws will turn on ratchets too. I'll show you that on both sides. And that basically is your scorpion mode. Now, it is a great mode. The ratchets are lovely, as always. I must admit, I am a bit of a fan of the old classic clicking ratchets. And there you go, that is your basic scorpion mode. Now, as a little play feature, you can open the visor and put Zarek in a seated position, and he can sit and control Scorponok like a little vehicle, which again is great. And if you notice, as you move it backwards and forwards, due to some rubber coated wheels underneath, which do stop this grinding along the floor, the actual legs do go in sequence, like if it's crawling along the floor, which is again slightly creepy but really good. Really nice that they bothered to do a feature like that. I'll show you the wheels. It's these orange ones at the back. They've got a rubber coating to make sure that they grip better, and you've got some basic little wheels just to keep the rear clear of the floor. But yeah, so that is his basic scorpion mode. You can beef it up by fitting some of the weapons, but they're more really for his robot mode, which I'll show you in a second as well. But that's the classic scorpion mode, and fantastic it is too. Now, opening up his visor, we get Lord Zarek out, close that back. Now for the classic robot mode. Now I'm going to have to lift the camera up a little bit because he's obviously a little bit taller in this mode. Unclip the tail, unclip the top part of the rear of the scorpion, clip that round like so. Then you want to take the scorpion tail up, and this grey post here needs to be lined up and clip in again to one of those same sort of clip joints on his back. So it's just a case of positioning all the ratchet joints and just push it in, and it stays beautifully firmly all clipped in position. You'll have no trouble with that as long as all the clips are okay. You can take off these other guns. Now at this stage you take the scorpion legs, and they're on quarter ratchets, but you just fold those round to the back like so, and they're all held in nice and tight to the back of the tail, and gets them out of the way so you've got some arm clearance. Now at this stage obviously you want to stand him up, so you need to swing the feet up and round like so you can stand the figure, and then at this point bring the arms down and round like so. Now you can use all 4 cannons when he's in robot mode on his shoulders, which is quite a nice touch. He's got so much cannon firepower on his arms. Now you can obviously swivel them round forwards as well, so you can aim them, or they can be a little bit more imposing sticking up in the air. Now you often quite see it that he's drawn with them in that position. You've got to have a little bit of a play around with his arms to get them in a position you like, but that's pretty much basically it. Doesn't have hands, still uses his claws, but then that's the classic Scorponok way. You can use the tail weapon up over the top of his head as well, which again is nice that it's positioned in a way that you can still use that. And of course you can fit his other weapons. Now, the first one is the tower. Opening that back up, you get the holes there for when it pegs to, well, that's for the one for pegging it together. That one there is what you need it for now, which that hole goes on that post on his arm, like so. So it becomes like an arm shield, stabby claw weapon, whatever you want to class it as. And you take the 2 gun towery parts, clip those together like so, and you've got his gun. Now this has got a hole on this side here, and that goes onto that peg there, so it's like he is holding the gun, which is quite nice. You can peg it on the side one if you so wish, so you could have it as an arm cannon, but it's quite nice that he's got an actual handgun. Kind of takes off the whole claw thing a little bit as well, so it does make him look a little bit more robotic. And of course the last thing, which if I open the chest up, although we've got all these little radar dishes in, I'll take them, a couple of them out of the way so they don't fall out while we're doing this. You have got his tech spec decoder, sort of tech spec reader, whatever you want to class them as. And as in the classic way, you fold up the headmaster, go head on, I think was the Japanese way they used to say it. Push that in, and you get his tech specs come up, and of course you can close the helmet back over the top and bring his sort of horns back round to the top as well. As with most things, his intelligence is high, his strength's high, but his speed's low, which is fair enough because he is just a giant scorpion in vehicle mode. Close that too, and you get the giant Decepticon logo nicely on display. Now if I bring him out, because like I say, he's a big old bot, and just give you a 360, you can actually see what you get. Lots of sticker applications on this guy. I do remember when I did him originally back in the day. You know, you've got to take your time. Same with Fort Max. If this guy ever gets a reissue, if it's anything like the Fort Max type stickers, I think they're actually worse than the original G1s for actually getting put on. But lots of great play value with this figure. Lots of lovely paint apps, little bits of orange picked out here and there. Really does add detail to it. You've got some like jet exhausts on the sides. If I can bring that around, you can see them there. You get, of course, his classic rub sign, which is in a slightly dubious place to be rubbing, but I'll give it a go. It's a cold morning. Can we? Yeah, but it's still working after all these years. You just about make out. Can't get it in close enough for the camera, or can I? There you go. Still works after all these years. But there you go. Classic G1 Scorponok. Now, as I said, I shall bring in Fort Max if I can pick him up and show you the difference. It's not exactly a fair fight, is it? Come on, Hasbro, you could have made Scorponok so much bigger. I wouldn't have minded. Yeah, it's not really a fair fight, is it? It would be a little bit uneven, as he's probably getting on for, you could say, a third of the height again. It's a strange matchup, but I just have to assume that that's the reason why the good guys win. But yeah, there you go. There's your classic Scorponok anyway. Still, in some ways, a better figure. I do love my Fort Max. Don't take that as meaning anything else. It is brilliant. But for a lot of play value, considering the size difference as well, Scorponok has got plenty going for him, and it is a highly recommended figure. If you're into G1, you really want to get this guy. He was, up until Fort Max finally appeared in the collection, probably the centerpiece figure for my collection. If I get a more modern figure, for those fans that are more recent into the Transformers line, if I put Prime Soundwave there, that's your classic sort of deluxe size for a modern figure. So he's a fair size bigger, probably talking about three times their height, something like that. So a nice size figure. You'll know you've got him when you get one. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this review. I know this is one of the grails for Bumble Jumper 82, Ed. Like I say, Ed, this is definitely one you want to pick up. He's really good. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this review. I shall no doubt see you again for either a Transformers review or hopefully some haul vids coming up as well. And thanks for watching. Please feel free to comment and subscribe. Bye for now.